You've built a killer team. Your clients are raving about your work and your revenue is climbing. But here's the kicker. Your team is slowing you down. Deadlines are slipping, approvals are piling up, and you're stuck in a never-ending game of waiting for feedback. Sound familiar? The problem? Your team has become a bottleneck. But here's the thing, it's not their fault. Even your A players, your rock stars that you rely on to drive results, can unintentionally slow things down when your systems aren't built to scale. That's why in this video, I'm gonna go through why these bottlenecks happen in the first place, how to identify them, and most importantly, how to fix them so your team can thrive and your business can grow without friction. So make sure to hit that like button and let's dive in. Before we jump right into the ClickUp walkthrough, I want to clear something up. If your projects are stalling, it's probably not because your team suddenly forgot how to do their job. More often, it's the system that's breaking, not the people. They're stuck waiting for approvals, playing Where's Waldo with important information, or guessing what the next step even is. The usual suspects? I hate to say it, but leadership, bottlenecks, way too many communication channels, and processes that basically don't exist. So that's what we're going to dive into, those three main things today and how you can fix them inside a project management tool. Today we'll be going through our fave, ClickUp. So let's start with the big one. When everything still needs your green light, you become the human speed bump. So let's fix that. So the first key piece to this is having a clear org chart. Now, a lot of the templates that I'm going to show you today are actually in our template shop in our vault. We actually have a new one that I just created. I'll see if you guys are interested in that one. But this org chart is available. This is used from ClickUp Whiteboard. So if you see, you can click Create Whiteboard. You can also use free whiteboarding tools like Miro or other ones out there. Or you can use things like as simple as like Canva or Google Slides. But basically, very simple, but sometimes it's harder than you think to really get out, what is the org chart for our company. Now, I will note and admit that there have been many times where I build out the org chart for our company or we're working on it together and my face is all over it, right? Or there's a particular team member's face who is all over it because there's so much overlap across departments. That's okay. You want to take a moment and be really real with yourself and say, what are the team dynamics here? Are there too many people in one specific place? Is there not enough people and there's one person managing too many things? And so you want to break it down, obviously, into departments. You could see this is nice and color-coded and see who is responsible for what. So not only is this going to allow you to see the gaps within your company or agency, but also give your team clarity into whose role is what, who's my direct report, etc. Now, the next part of this is that your team shouldn't need your thumbs up to order paper clips, right? We want to show them where they get their full license to drive, where they have autonomy and power to make decisions. Because there may be things that, definitely need your approval or someone else's approval and leadership before moving forward. And then there may be simple things that they're still asking for reviews and they don't need to be anymore. So here's what we created, this new template. Again, if you guys are interested in this, drop a comment below. We can upload it to our shop. But this is the roles and responsibilities tracker. Now, you can also do this in a document, in a Google Sheet or Excel sheet. But obviously, I love having everything in ClickUp if I can. So basically, what this is where you're going through the overarching and main tasks in the company. So look at the examples here. Schedule client QBR, respond to client escalation, finalize SOP for new process, onboard new employee, approve client proposal, assign team to new project, etc. You get the point. What you want to do is you want to then assign what department is this pertaining to, who is the decision owner, right? And then not only who's the decision owner, who is that person? So then everyone on the team, including that person themselves, can see what they are responsible for. Then here is a good one. Approval required? Yes, no. Only the CEO can approve this. Only the director can approve this. So the person knows who's working on it. Can I just go ahead and do this? For example, Andrea can go ahead and onboard the new employee. She doesn't need approval to do that. What is the level of impact? So they know, right? Anything that's CEO only is obviously going to be very high impact. A lot of director things as well. If it's low or medium, maybe it doesn't need approval. It really depends on what the task is. Then you have and you can see these are drop downs as well. Then you can actually link the SOP here for easy access. And then what is the recurrence? Does it recur? If so, how often? So either it does or it doesn't. And then here you could see this is just a text field. We put yes, it occurs quarterly, per hire, per client, per project, etc. So you can see how you have everything mapped out and super clear in this roles and responsibilities tracker. And then you can also, as new things come up in your company, you can add them here, right? So say you haven't done quarterly marketing planning up to this point. You're kind of just flying by the seat of your pants. Well, this is something that we want to start doing. And who does this, pertain to? This is marketing, who's going to be the decision owner, et cetera, et cetera. And then you can see the statuses of these things. Okay, this needs assignment. So maybe you're dropping things in here related to your goals and your initiatives. And then you're like, okay, let's delegate this to the person involved. So then you can temporarily assign it. Say that would be like a really good example if you're hiring for this, but you want someone currently in the company to take over it, then it's going to be a temporary assignment. Maybe it's permanently assigned until, it needs to be reassigned, or say that team member leaves or something like that. If a team member leaves, then you're going to know, okay, this needs to be reassigned to someone. Maybe this needs leadership review, like, hey, we need to rethink this process or rethink the person doing this. Or is this a discontinued task? We're no longer doing this within the company. So you're able to see not only what are all the tasks that need to happen, and again, you don't have to get really, really granular on this. We want really the main overarching tasks for the roles and responsibilities of each team member. So then you can go through this process of, okay, what's the status of each of these things and track what needs to be assigned, what's been assigned, etc. Two other views on this as well. So this is obviously the status view. Then you can have a view that's grouped by the team member. So anyone on the team / that team member can see, okay, here are the things that I am currently assigned to. And then also we have the department view. So seeing all of the roles and responsibilities per department. So again, really great way to just have this tracker to be able to go through all the roles and responsibility of the company, who's doing what, does something need to be assigned to someone, does something need to be reassigned to someone, etc. This is really great to have as well as the company continues to grow and expand and people move into different roles. You can see what are the things that this person is doing, like say they're moving into a director role. Okay, there are a lot of things that they're doing currently that we can delegate to team members that are below them. Okay, so that is point number 1, leadership bottlenecks and how to get rid of those. Now we move on to point number 2. So now once you've unclogged the top of the funnel and your team can actually move, guess what they run into next? A digital avalanche of Slack messages, emails, calendar invites, carrier pigeons, you name it. Welcome to Slackpocalypse. So let me actually walk through how we cut through the noise using ClickUp to centralize updates, reduce the pings, and save everyone from drowning in just circling back messages. All right, so instead of just communicating via Slack and email, which 100% we still do those things in our agency, they're just for very specific reasons and purposes. When it comes to internal communications about projects, deliverables, marketing assets, etc., that's when we use ClickUp and we use comments and automation. So let me show you a couple different examples. Say we're working on marketing, right? And we'll use Instagram as a specific example. This is where every single deliverable is an actual task. Here you can see we have the different statuses, so everyone knows, okay, what's the next step that I have to do for this thing? So I know that today I have to film the reel systems are not tools. I also know that today I have to review this specific piece of content. Nina, our designer, knows that tomorrow she has to edit this specific piece of content. And my EA knows she has to schedule this piece of content, right? So we'll be working on these specific things, and maybe I'm, working on reviewing this specific asset. And then I'm like, at Nina, can we change the reel cover to X, right? So I'm replying to her and giving her feedback right in ClickUp Comments. So she knows that she's checking her inbox each day, and in her inbox, she's going through all the specific things, right? So when she gets that notification in her inbox, then she's able to click into it, read the notification, reply, see the information, go right to the task, instead of sifting through Slack and email and having to find the actual thing that you're working on. What's really great about this too is if you have actual images in here, so I'll use this task as an example, you can actually click on the image and then add a comment directly. So we'll actually use this when our designers will upload the images. We'll comment right on it, hey, can you change this, change that, this is a typo, etc., and then move it to needs edits. So everything is really centralized. Now, don't get me wrong. There are absolutely things that we're working on that are more urgent where we feel the need to use Slack. So what we'll do is we'll leave a comment in ClickUp. We'll then copy the link to that task. So I just right-clicked and click copy. And then we'll send it to that person in Slack and be like, hey, so-and-so, can you check this out? I left you a comment. This is urgent. We'll also use Slack for things like general communication, ideas, personal DMs. We use it to communicate with our clients using Slack Connect. So we definitely use it for a lot of different purposes, but ClickUp is our main place where we have the communication. Now, the other things in terms of saving yourself time and energy is also using automation. So this is communicating to your team members without you actually having to do anything, which is we have automations that say I go ahead and I change something to needs edits. It's then going to reassign the specific team member with a due date of 1 day later. When someone moves something to ready for a review, it's going to reassign me with the due date of 1 day later. So say I'm working on this, and then I say, okay, this needs edits, boom, boom, boom. It's then going to reassign Nina with a due date of tomorrow. So this is communicating to the team automatically what they have to do, what's on their schedule, without me having to micromanage and worry that things are going to slip through the cracks. I know that ClickUp is doing the heavy lifting and the communication for me, and the team member knows exactly what they should be working on because it's on their calendar. So this is an example for internal, but let's talk about clients as well. So you can also have a client management tracker. This is our client management template where you're working on client deliverables. They're going through a different set of statuses. In progress, internal review, approved, sent to client, awaiting client review, follow up, needs edits, client delay, completed, etc. So this is if you have the same type of flow, like a pipeline of tasks that go through this pipeline, or if you have a project that's more like start to finish, then you can also use our project management template. This one is actually free in our shop. And here you can see this is grouped by the project phase instead of status, where we have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. And this is where everything's grouped. Everything has an assignee. This is obviously a template. Start and due date, you can still track the statuses across every single item in that project. And so again, you're able to communicate with your team who's responsible for what. And then because everything is documented, you can come into here and get a pulse check on where everything is at for that project. The last thing I want to explain here is the difference between assignees and watchers. So if I click into this task here, you're going to see that there are 2 watchers on it, me and Jefferson. Say I wanted to not assign Andrea to this task. Say I'm assigning Jeff, right? He's responsible for this. But I wanted Andrea, our project manager, to be in the loop about everything that's happening for this task. I can actually add her as a watcher, which means anytime I add like an update to the task, every single watcher is going to get a notification in their inbox. So this is a really great way. We get this question so much of like, they'll actually assign tasks to people just so they can have their eyes on them. But you really only want the person that has to do the task as the assignee. So watchers is the perfect addition to be able to have people in the loop about that thing while not having it cluttering their calendar. You can also add automations as well. Like anytime a task or subtask is created, if there's a project manager for this, let's add Andrea to every single task. So now you'll see I'll create another task. And now when I click into here, you'll see 1 watcher and now there's 2. So it added her automatically. So those are a bunch of tips on how to fix point number 2, which is communication overload, how you can centralize your communication in one tool. All of these examples are obviously in ClickUp, but you can use other project management tools that do the same type of things. So this leads us into fixing bottleneck number 3. Once you've gone ahead and stopped the Slack flood and everyone knows where to find updates, that's great. But now they're staring at their task list like it's a blank page on a group project. No one knows who's doing what, when it's due, or where to start. It's not confusion, it's process chaos. So let me show you how we can fix that with pre-built project templates, smart subtasks, and SOPs baked right into ClickUp. So instead of what do I do next, your team's got turn-by-turn directions to done. All right, so moving on, bottleneck number 3 is undefined processes, where every project feels like chaos. So this actually leads perfectly from the last examples of the project management template. So whether it's a project management template for a project that's start to finish, or it's things that you need to do to manage your clients, or maybe it's even things that you have to do to onboard or offboard clients that are new. Utilizing ClickUp templates is game-changing, and I'll show you why. Now, I know that many of you are going to be thinking, yeah, but every client project or every project has its nuances, right? Totally get it. Same here. Not every single project is copy-paste. Now, some industries and some projects, it may be easier to copy-paste, while others are like totally bespoke. Either way, 100%, you can always have a base, right? If you look at project prep here, you can have a project prep checklist, a kickoff call with the team, finalize the project budget, create milestones, break down the project tasks, assign responsibilities to team members, etc. So there are definitely key things that you can do for every project, whether the execution remains the same or not. Once you map these into ClickUp, I recommend that if these projects have a typical assignee, you assign that assignee. And then if these things have a standard start and due date, then adding them here as well. Now, while you're mapping out this project template, you can either work front to back or back to front. Do you want to start from the kickoff date of, okay, here's the date we kick off, so then we need X done by this day and X done by this day? Or do you want to go backwards of, okay, the project launch date for this website is X, so let's work backwards. Once you do that, you can also add in time estimates of how long this thing is going to take, each task and subtask. That's really amazing for when you use workload view, because then you'll see once you upload this template, it'll automatically go into everyone's workload and you can see what's on their plate and how much they're packed for the day, week, month, etc. So once you map out the project from start to finish, you're going to go ahead and go to the 3 dots, templates, and save as template. You can then enter the template name, and then go ahead and save. So then, once you come to do this type of project again, you can go to plus, and then templates, search for, let me see if this uploaded yet, test template, beautiful. Click on use, and I'm going to do test. I'm going to add this to operations. And here is where the magic happens. You can click on remap dates, and then you can either choose, okay, I'm going to start this project on X, or I want to finish this project on X. So let's say I want to start this project on June 2nd. It's then going to auto-calculate the end date based on what the first date in your template is and what the last one is. You can click on skip weekends if you want it to skip weekends, and then click on use template. So now I'll give this a second to buffer and show you how this shows up. Beautiful. So now I have my entire project mapped out, the people that have to do the things when they're doing them in just the click of a button. Now you can also do the same thing with, let's use the client database as an example. So even if it isn't a project from start to finish, say it's like an onboarding checklist, once something moves to onboarding, you can create an automation that it then applies that template. So let me show you how to create that automation. So I'll go into here, add automation. I'm going to write onboarding. When the status changes to onboarding, then go ahead and apply a template. And we'll do the onboarding task template. So just how you saw that I saved the template for the list, you can do the same thing with the tasks. You can right click on the task, go to templates, save as template, and then save that template. So now if I go ahead and I add Silva Life as a new client, once I go ahead and add them to onboarding, you'll see that this now uploaded my template for the onboarding checklist. So part of this is absolutely going through the process of documenting your processes, building them into templates, and that's a whole other discussion. But you can see how having things documented, having them templated is going to empower your team to do every single thing that they need to get done for that project. They're not going to miss a beat, as well as save you and your project managers so much time by having the templates ready to go, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. So let's wrap up, shall we? Now, if you're thinking, great, I've fixed the obvious stuff, how do I make sure that bottlenecks don't sneak back in? That's where the bonus dashboard comes in. You don't need a crystal ball, you need data. So let me show you how to use ClickUp dashboards to spot slowdowns before they spiral using a team performance dashboard. And I'm also going to show you a bonus of having a weekly check-in form for your team to fill out and give feedback. This isn't micromanagement, it's micro optimization, like flossing, but for your workflows. Okay, so first let's dive into the team performance dashboard. So in the dashboard section within ClickUp, you can create a dashboard and add different cards. This is pulling the data from your ClickUp account, so you're able to get a pulse check on your team performance. Here are a few examples of cards that you can include to get this quick pulse check. You can create a card with overdue tasks. Group it by the assignee, and then you can see, okay, Christy has 50 overdue tasks. Let's see a lot of them. Obviously, this is our template account, so that's why you see all these here. But then you're able to get a pulse check on who has a lot of overdue tasks, who doesn't have so many, and why are these things slipping? Maybe they have too much on their plate, or maybe something is going on in their personal life. Either way, knowing who has overdue tasks and how many is going to be super powerful. The next is total time and status. So you can see, okay, how often, how many days, actually let's change this to days. I'm going to go to the settings of this widget and then click on days instead of hours. So now you can see, okay, things usually sit in internal review for 13 days, awaiting client review for 2 days. Obviously, those aren't the metrics we want to see, right? We want things to be an internal review very quickly so they can get to the client, and then we can see the average of how often clients are delaying. In progress, approved, sent to client, etc. And then lastly, these 3 widgets here can show you who's behind, so you can see this metric to see how many inbox notifications are unread for people, and then total overdue tasks as well. You can see what's been completed. So if I go ahead and complete one of these overdue tasks, then you'll be able to see this come up in that completed report. You can also click into them and drill down into what those tasks actually were. And then you can see what's worked on. So how many tasks has each person actually worked on within your account as well. So great place to just get a quick pulse check on data, bringing it all into one centralized dashboard. Then the last thing I want to mention is another template that we recently created. So again, if you're interested in this, let us know. We can add it to the shop, which is the team feedback form. So this form can be sent via a public link. You can either have them add their first and last name, or you can have this anonymous, depends on what you're feeling. So here they can put in, okay, what are the tasks or projects that are currently on your plate? Where are you stuck or blocked? Where are you stuck or blocked? What slowed you down this week? What's something that went really well? Is there anything you'd delegate or streamline if you could? What would make next week more productive? And are there any updates or decisions we should know about? So this is just getting a pulse check. It should take 5 to 10 minutes for your team to fill out each week. And then you're able to get a pulse check on the things they're working on, where they feel stuck, what went well, what didn't go so well. So this will allow you to really spot any bottlenecks that maybe you can't see yourself and they're coming from the team perspective. And there you have it. That's your blueprint for getting out of the bottleneck cycle. We've mapped ownership, cleaned up communication, standardized the chaos, and built systems to spot the issues before they start. Your team's ready to move faster, take more ownership, and finally stop waiting for you to greenlight everything. Let's get you back to the big picture, because that's where you belong. There you have it. You now have the key strategies you need to eliminate the bottlenecks within your team and make your company run like a well-oiled machine. Because here's the thing. When you eliminate the bottlenecks, you not only make your team's lives easier, but you're really setting up your business for sustainable growth. Your team is now going to feel empowered to take ownership of their work, projects will move faster, and decisions will happen more efficiently. And with all of this, you're going to be freed up to focus on the big picture tasks, those revenue generating activities to continue moving your company forward. But if all this sounds great, but you're not sure where to start, and you're looking for someone to come alongside you and build something custom for your company, book a consult call and let's chat about how we can build a custom ClickUp solution to remove the bottlenecks in your business. The link is in the description below. And one last thing, if you found this video helpful, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so you're always notified when we have other scaling and systems tips and strategies. Our goal is to help you gain the tools and strategies you need to get your business running like a well-oiled machine. With that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.